And in one of the Murlis, if you remember, Baba said that we have to obtain 3 certificates. He used this very word certificate. And he said one of the certificates is that you should be satisfied with yourself. You should be satisfied with yourself. This is one certificate which you have to get from yourself. The other certificate is that others who come in touch with you, with whom you deal, they should be satisfied with you. So you have to have a certificate of satisfaction from them. And thirdly, perhaps it is firstly, that you have to get a certificate from Baba. Shiv Baba should be satisfied with you. These are the 3 certificates which we have to get. I think that golden age is an age in which everyone is satisfied. And iron age is an age in which almost everyone, I think perhaps everyone, not almost everyone, is dissatisfied. Either at one point of time or at another. Today a person may be satisfied, but tomorrow will find that there is some kind of dissatisfaction in him. And it is because in perfection lies our satisfaction. Unless or until we become perfect, we are not completely satisfied. So, perhaps the complete satisfaction will come only when we have attained our stage of perfection. I can also say that in liberation lies our perfection. When we are completely liberated from all the negativity, the negative forces pulling our mind towards them, polluting our mind, when our mind is free from those negative traits, is liberated from them, then we have satisfaction. Therefore, in many of Baba's Murlis, Baba says, we have to obtain Swaraj, that is self-rule. When we attain the rule over our mind or our senses, then only we become satisfied. And perhaps one of the reasons why we are not satisfied is that we have so many desires, and all desires cannot perhaps be satisfied. It is almost impossible to satisfy all our desires. Perhaps at the end, when we attain the stage of perfection, all our desires will have been fulfilled. Noble desires, good desires will have been satisfied. And satisfaction perhaps means the satisfaction of desires. And one of the things perhaps is that we try to satisfy our desires by attaining material things, by having material pursuits. We are not going within ourselves, reaching the self, but we try to reach the material things, try to attain the material things. The satisfaction will perhaps come when we have reached the self. In other words, when we have realized the self, when we are stabilized in our self-awareness, in our self-consciousness, because in that level of consciousness is so much bliss, is so much of peace, and there is so much of love, there are so much of divine qualities in an emerged form, that perhaps no desires will be left. And since all desires, all worthy desires, noble desires, will have been satisfied, therefore we will then be satisfied. Now I would like to say that when I speak about satisfaction or dissatisfaction, I would like to say that there are good kinds of satisfaction and there is also bad kind of satisfaction. And there may also be some good kind of dissatisfaction. I would like to make it clear. Now we have higher goals and we have higher standards. And in order to attain higher goals and higher standards, we will not be completely satisfied until we have reached those higher goals. We have attained those higher standards. So little bit of dissatisfaction with our status quo, with our present state, is perhaps better because it gives us impetus to do some higher quality work and to attain some higher status. So if satisfaction means that we want some kind of improvement, some kind of progress, and that we have a higher goal to be realized, there is a higher vision which we want to fulfill, that kind of satisfaction, I think, dissatisfaction, that kind of dissatisfaction is good dissatisfaction. And I think it's a sign of intelligence, and it's a sign of zest and enthusiasm, because we have some set goals, and we have some perceptions. We know what is the aim, what is to be achieved, and we have some targets set for us. We work towards that goal, and with a great enthusiasm, because we are not satisfied with the present. Every worthy thing can be achieved provided we are dissatisfied with the present state of affairs. And only an intelligent person can understand the difference between present, which is unworthy, and the future, which is worthy and noble. So therefore I say that some kind of dissatisfaction which gives us impetus to attain higher goals is a sign of intelligence. So I would not like to say that that kind of dissatisfaction is a negative trait. That may perhaps be useful and may be, worth having. It may be a positive quality at that time, in that form. Then again, it gives us some kind of originality. All the new theories which have been found, all the new discoveries which have been made, because people were not satisfied with the old concepts, old ideas, old theories. And that dissatisfaction led them to explore new avenues, to find new ideas. This is called originality. And I think this is the other side of the coin. Dissatisfaction leads you to exploration. And that exploration enables you to be detached. It gives you the quality of detachment with the status quo. You are not satisfied with the present. And that gives you a firepower or a drive, a motivation for attaining something higher. So that leads you to do something original, something creative. You make some contribution to the total fund of knowledge in the world. You give something new to the world. So you justify your existence by giving something original to the mankind. So I think if we want originality in our life, there is required some kind of dissatisfaction. You can say in other words that dissatisfaction is a birth pain for new ideas. The very feeling of dissatisfaction shows that new ideas are going to come. New ideas can't come unless and until you have dissatisfaction. So it is some kind of boldness, because when you are dissatisfied, you are going to explore new avenues, and you do not know what is going to be in your hands in future. There is some kind of uncertainty until then, some kind of insecurity. But still you want to explore new avenues, and from that point of view, you are going to be a little bit bold. Because it is easy to remain in what you are, but it is a bit difficult. You have to be a little bit bold in order to leave the present one and to explore something which is not yet known, which is new. There may be resistance from the vested interests. There may be resistance from your mind, because our own mind also resists to some change. When new change is aspired, there is always a resistance from the mind. So you are going to be bold to face the resistance from your own mind, from your neighbors, from your other colleagues, from other people, from your own habits, because you are going to explore new lands, new avenues. And that also shows a feeling of concern. This also is a sign of intelligence. A feeling of concern for something better. Now, for example, we are going to have a project, Global Cooperation for a Better World. What does it show? That the present world is not good. Or if it is good, we want to have a better one. Which in other words means, indirectly though, that we are dissatisfied with the present world. If we were not dissatisfied with the present world, how can we say that we want a better world? And this effort for having a better world means that we feel concern for the betterment of the society. So this, I would say, is a good kind of dissatisfaction. Now, there may be bad kind of satisfaction. I have now presently given good kind of dissatisfaction. But now there may be some kind of satisfaction. Satisfaction, as a matter of fact, is considered as a virtue, is a good quality. It is worth having. It is something which gives us peace. It shows that we have attained something. It is a sign of fulfillment. But in certain cases, it may be a bad quality, which is worthy of being given up rather than being inculcated. Now, it may be a sign of sloth, a sign of laziness, sign of passivity, sign of lascivity. Now, if I am satisfied with whatever I have, I don't make any effort for attaining anything higher. Maybe that underneath it is my sloth, my laziness. I don't want to work. I feel I am comfortable with this, nothing more. And that feeling for nothing more, nothing better, may be because I don't want to do any hard work. So the reason may be, though in a dormant or a subtle way, that there is some kind of a passivity, some kind of a lack of zest, lack of enthusiasm. And it also means a lack of ambition. It may also be a manifestation of the defeatist mentality. Maybe that I have been trying to attain something in life, but I have not been able to do it. I have been a failure. And I say, well, this is my luck. Let me be satisfied with it. I am better as I am. Nothing more. I don't require anything more. Outwardly, it may seem that I have no ambition, that I have fulfilled. And there is no void or vacuum in my life which I need fulfilling. But actually, it may be that I am frustrated and I have a defeatist mentality. I think I am not equal to the problems. I cannot face them. I cannot achieve something worthy. I have no confidence in me, and therefore I leave it at that, and I think I am satisfied. Somebody asks me, are you satisfied? I say, yes, I am satisfied. But hardly is a person existent in the world who I think is completely satisfied and satisfied all the time. I would now like to give some difference between contentment and satisfaction. We must distinguish between what is contentment and what is satisfaction. For example, when I said that we have to obtain a certificate of satisfaction also from Baba, I said we have to obtain 3 certificates. One is that we should be satisfied with ourselves. The other is that others should be satisfied with us. The third is that Shiv Baba should be satisfied with us. Now, we can't say that Shiv Baba has no contentment. Shiv Baba is contented. He doesn't require anything. Because one who has the contents is contented. So Shiv Baba is not void of any content. He is knowledgeful, peaceful, blissful, loveful, everything full. So he is contented. But since we are not observing the maryadas which he gave us to follow, or we are not doing what he asks us to do, so he may be dissatisfied with us. Which in other words means that he expects something higher from us, which we are not doing. So there is difference between contentment and satisfaction. I may be contented, whatever little wealth I have, whatever little knowledge I have, whatever physical strength I have. I may say it's Baba's blessings, I am contented with it. But I may be having certain goals to fulfill, certain ends to achieve, and certain assignments given to me, which I must fulfill. I think I am responsible to attain those targets. And from that point of view, I may be dissatisfied that I have not been able to do full justice to my work. So one may be contented and still one may be dissatisfied. And one may be satisfied, but still he may have no contents. Now, I would like to give in what forms is it that dissatisfaction manifests itself. Because sometimes we are not aware that there is dissatisfaction in us. And if someone asks us, are you satisfied? We easily say, yes, we are satisfied. But the case may be that we are actually not satisfied. And I find many of our problems, many of the roadblocks in our way of progress is because of dissatisfaction. Even many of the diseases, the psychosomatic diseases, are because of dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction is the greatest disease of our times, mental as well as leading to physical sickness. Now, one of the forms of manifestation of dissatisfaction may be frustration. If that dissatisfaction increases to a high degree, it may be in the form of frustration. Or this frustration may even take the form of outbursts, even violence. Underneath it is actually dissatisfaction. It may express itself in the form of depression. One may be in a depressed mood. It is because he has got in his mind some kind of dissatisfaction. It may be in the form of melancholy. He may be sad. Or it may be in the form of obsessive compulsiveness. It may also be in the form of trauma or tension or even death wish. If the dissatisfaction is so great, so intense. It may take the form of hatred. If I am dissatisfied with someone, I may begin to hate him, his actions, his relationship with me, his very personality, his all behavior. And then fretting and fuming. If I am dissatisfied, I begin to grumble, begin to complain. Here and there I begin to talk ill of somebody. And this may also be manifest in the form of greed. What is greed? Whatever you have, you are not satisfied with it. You want more. You get more and still you are dissatisfied. You want still more. You get that much, even then you are not satisfied, your greed grows. So greed is also a form of dissatisfaction. Rivalry and jealousy. This may also be a form of manifestation of dissatisfaction. I would say all wars, all strife is a kind of dissatisfaction. One nation being dissatisfied with the other, one community being dissatisfied with the other. For one reason or the other. It may be political, economic, social, cultural, whatever. And then all complaints against our fellow beings, they arise from our dissatisfaction. Even all criticism or censure, when we begin to talk ill of others, which Baba says we must not indulge into. Even backbiting, it's all because of dissatisfaction. And it also then begins to sow the seeds of disunity. Disunity also is because of dissatisfaction. And then the dissatisfaction, when it becomes manifest in the form of frustration, then a person may begin to challenge everything in the society, all its values, all its norms, all its traditions, whatever. Challenging every kind of order, every kind of thing, and may lead to instability. And so, negative thoughts, and it may cause physical diseases. Many, many diseases are due to dissatisfaction. Now, how is dissatisfaction caused? Because we can eradicate the cause only when we know it. So what are the major causes, main causes, which cause dissatisfaction? One may be that I find that I don't have those qualities which others have. When I see that this person has this good quality, the other person another good quality, and I don't have them, I may be dissatisfied with my own self. So dissatisfaction with the self may arise from this cause, because of the feeling of lack of certain qualities, or because of the feeling of presence of some vices. One may not be able to eradicate them. As Dadiji was saying, vice, but no vice. And when somebody feels the anger is still there, that some kind of a feeling of deprivation or feeling of hatred or some other negativity is still there. So one feels that one is not able to progress as much as one should have. And the result is dissatisfaction with the self. So, the third one could be lack of speedy progress. I may be making progress, but when I am told that the time left is very short, that now very soon people will come to know that God's work is taking place and that God will be glorified in the very near future, and that the race has been going on for so many years and some have already emerged victorious to a very great extent. They are reaching the goal, they are almost near the goal, and I find that I am lacking behind and I am not making as much progress as I should. So then there is a kind of dissatisfaction, sometimes very severe it may be. So the feeling of lack of speedy progress. It's for a good cause, for a noble aim, for a worthy object to be achieved, but still it's dissatisfaction. It's a kind of negativity which is eating away into my energy, my stamina, and is a roadblock in my progress. It is not leading me to progress, but sometimes it may be leading me to progress. It may be giving a whip to my mind to make more effort. But at other times, I may be disappointed, and their disappointment may be affecting my consciousness, level of consciousness. Another one may be, I think, bad luck. Now this person, whenever he does anything, he gets a good result. Whenever I do the same thing, I am not able to have it. Maybe don't know what is wrong with me. I am perhaps not lucky, the stars are bad, you see. Whatever. They say whenever a case was put to Napoleon Bonaparte and a person was recommended for promotion, and that this man at such a front when the war was on, he did this brave act, his maneuvering, his strategy, his effort was fearless and so on. He was recommended for the post of, say, a colonel, a general or whatever. He generally used to put a question mark, but is he lucky? But is he lucky? All other factors are there, but does he have the factor of luck also in his case? So maybe that someone feels that he has got ability, he is a worthy person, he have academic qualifications, but he does not have the opportunity. And even if he does have the opportunity, he does not have the help of others. Or even if he does have the help of others, the result is not as good as he would like it to be. What is wrong with it? And the idea comes to his mind, he is not lucky. there is a voice from within, you are not lucky. The only factor missing in you is that you are not lucky. So then again he may become frustrated, disappointed, dejected, or you can say dissatisfied with himself. Now these are the causes which I am giving are because of the self, which arise from our own self. Then the circumstances. Many things we read in history, the defeat of a nation when it was at war with another nation. It had the Armada, and it had the firepower, it had the military in higher strength, all the other good things which are required for victory in a war. But certain circumstances developed which led ultimately to the defeat. You may call bad luck or you may say bad circumstances. It's how you may like to call it. But in some people may think my circumstances are not good. So Baba has given so many murlis on this, parasthiti, swasthiti and parasthiti. The atmosphere, the environment, the circumstances, and my own stage. How to conquer the odd circumstances by our own powerful self stage. So circumstances may be one of the factors. Another one may be the feeling that one has no helping hand, or that one has no sympathizer, or that there is no one to look after, that there is no one who feels concerned for him or her, that there is no companion, that there is no feeling of belongingness, no one who really and without any selfish motive gives the love. These may be causes of dissatisfaction in life. Now, these are which arise from our own self, our own thoughts. The other is that others are not dissatisfied with us. So I am not satisfied with my own self. I am not satisfied with my own self because others are not satisfied with me. What is wrong with me, I ask myself. Because this man, that man and the other man, I behave with them very nicely. I try to do good deeds to them. I love them, I admire them, I do so many nice things to them. But still they are not happy with me. What is wrong with me? I am not satisfied with me because they are not satisfied with me. That may be the cause. And as I said earlier, there may be many ambitions, many desires I want to fulfill within a short time, and I can't fulfill them all. I have too many irons in the fire, and I think I can't beat them all into nails and hammers and sickles and other things, and therefore I am dissatisfied. Now, the main question, how to have satisfaction? These are the causes. There can be many, but within this limitation of time, I have sorted out a few so that we can also discuss about how to be satisfied and how to be liberated from this negativity of dissatisfaction. The first thing is that in this Jnani life, in this yogi life, the highest point of satisfaction is that we have attained Baba. It is only when we forget this that this feeling of dissatisfaction attacks our mind. If we have always this kind of awareness, and when we say Baba, let us understand what this word Baba means. One who is the ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of bliss, ocean of love. Therefore, understanding the attributes of God, the acts of God, the relationship of God is necessary. If one is not given knowledge of the relationship with God and the acts of God, or the qualities or attributes of God and other antecedents of God, then one cannot have that much of happiness and satisfaction. All these things are essential. Alright, let me suppose God is knowledgeful, peaceful and blissful. So what do I get from Him? The question is, how does it matter for me? But when I know that I am related to Him as son to a father, and that from father comes the inheritance, and peace and bliss and knowledge which are the property of God, they are my inheritance. And by my birth, I have this birthright. I will get them. This gives me satisfaction. So when I say that I must be aware of Baba, that I have attained Him, I must also be aware of how full Baba is. That He is Almighty. What is it that He can't do? He can do everything. If He helps me, nothing can stand in my way. If no other gives me help, no other gives me company, if He gives me, I am fulfilled. There will be no shortcoming, no shortfall. So if I know His attributes and also His acts, that this is the present Sangam Yuga, the period of confluence, when He is doing His acts, which means He is giving, He is sharing, He is showering His boons, His blessings. And it is easy to get this from Him in the present period. And He is giving the knowledge and so on. When I know that His acts are taking place in the present period, when I also know my relationship with Him, when I also know the attributes of God and all these, what I have been given to understand about God, then this is the first thing which I think should demolish completely the feeling of frustration or dejection or deprivation, all these other kinds which I mentioned earlier, and I should have complete satisfaction. Because if I really understand, therefore Baba asks in Murlis many times, children, do you understand? Samjhe? In Hindi asks again and again, Samjha? You know this word Samjha? He is explaining things to us, and he puts us the question, do you understand? And after asking, do you understand, he said, Samjhe ke nahi samjhe? Do you really understand, children? You understand or you don't understand? He asks this again. It is because many times we understand things only at the literal level, at the mental level, we don't realize it. If we really realize that we have been able to have a connection with Shiv Baba, and Shiv Baba is really knowledgeful, peaceful, blissful, loveful, almighty and so on, and that we are His children, and as children we have rights over His property. He must give it to us. There is no other alternative, no other, thing to it. We must get it by our very birth, the spiritual birth. And that now we are fulfilled. Our all disappointment, our all frustration, everything will have been gone. But perhaps we don't. Sometimes Baba says, you are a good child, you are a flying angel. Now I feel that I have some kind of a negativity. Now a person begins to feel, Baba perhaps is saying this because he wants me to give a nice word. I don't know that Baba is giving it for so sure. He knows me more, he knows me better than even I know myself. Whether I have something good in me or not, It is, you see, Baba knows everything. He is knowledgeful. He has got the horoscope of all the 84 births of all the children. And whatever he says is 100% correct. There can be no iota of doubt about it. But I begin to apply in my mind and say, no, I have got a little bit of anger, hatred, this and all that. And Baba is saying, child, you are good, you are a flying angel. I am not. Baba only wishes me to become like that. You see. But if Baba is giving me the certificate, you are, where is the reason to doubt that I am not? You see. I am trying to be wiser. Dadiji asks us to be wise, but I am trying to be wiser than even God, which is wrong. So if I know God as He is, what He is, how He is, where He is and when He is, and all these things about Him, in reality, then I think there is no cause for fear or frustration or dissatisfaction. So, and recently gave the Murli that I am giving you all the boons of long life and of wealth and health and happiness. From time to time He has been saying what are His blessings, that He is here to bless us, to give us, and that we have not to work hard for it. The only thing we are required to have is love for Him. He says, agar mohabbat karenge, to mehnat nahi karni padegi. Which, when translated, means that if you love me, you will not have to work hard. Because it is love which will give you all these fruits. So, the only simple thing is that we have to love Him and we get everything from Him. All our desires will be fulfilled. And for 21 lives, nothing will be left unfulfilled. Then where is the cause for dissatisfaction? And then I said one of the causes of dissatisfaction which I mentioned was lack of qualities in me. When I find that I do not have the divine qualities, I am not making good progress, I feel concerned about my state of consciousness or mind, and I feel that my progress is not satisfactory, so on. Now about qualities. When I feel that I have attained Shiv Baba, then Shiv Baba is the embodiment of qualities. He is full of all those qualities. So when I have attained Him, if I love Him, I will have qualities. To have all the qualities, you have to make no other effort but to love Shiv Baba. By loving Shiv Baba, your love will be divinized. It will be spiritualized. Love will be purified. And when love is purified, I will be having all the qualities. Because all the qualities are derived from love. The negative qualities are perverted form of love, and the positive qualities are the pure form of love. And when I have that pure love, I will have all the qualities. Then, about that, I do not have good luck. I said this feeling also is one of the reasons, one of the causes which makes a person feel that he feels dissatisfied. Now, Baba has given me knowledge, and on the basis of knowledge I know that luck is nothing but the fruit of our efforts. Whatever we have done in the past, our karmas, our karmic account, good or bad, comes in the form of circumstances or in the form of luck. You may call it either way. So whatever is happening in my life is because of my past karmas. And even if I want to get rid of it in order to be more satisfied, I know that Baba is my helper and my higher stage of consciousness is my helper. Because then I will be able to judge what to do and what not to do. So instead of being frustrated or instead of being dissatisfied, I should know that this is the last stage, and after that if I do good karmas, I am going to have good luck. So the way to good luck is to do good karmas. And we have now been given the knowledge what are good karmas as separated or as differentiated, as distinguished from bad karmas. And when I know this, now it is for me to make efforts to make my luck better. And Baba very often says, children, you have good fortune. You are fortunate stars of fortune. He has been giving description of many kinds of stars. And some of the stars he has been saying lucky stars. So we are lucky stars of Baba. If I remember this, that after attaining Baba, I have become lucky star. He says, now you are under my umbrella, under my protection. Only what you have to do is to love me. Then I think this feeling of dissatisfaction will have gone. And I also said that about companion and about that someone feels concerned about us and someone gives us unselfish love. Here is the one who gives us unselfish love. And he says that we should be merged in his love, and we get it in manifold way and multiplied and for all time. The real love which brings inner transformation in us. So there is someone who feels concerned for us, for our betterment, and he is leading us, guiding us on a good path to a good goal. And now there should be no cause for dissatisfaction, that there is no one who is concerned about us, that there is no one who is guiding us, that there is no one who really loves us, that there is no one who helps us, there is no companion, that we are forlorn, that we are forsaken. There is no one who is really giving us his company. Here is the one who has the greatest concern for us. He wants us to be the highest, the holiest, and he is working for that, helping for it, willing to do it, giving all the care and love, looking after us, showering love on us. There is no lack of it, and this should give us satisfaction. And then when we say we should remember drama, actually drama is another word for karma. Because when we say that this is in drama, whatever is in drama is because of our karma. It's not for no reason. There is nothing without a cause, nothing for no reason. Everything has a cause behind it. And whatever is there in the drama, which is preordained or predetermined, it is not determined by Shiv Baba. It has been determined by our previous actions, by our previous karma. So when we say that we should depend upon drama, it gives us a feeling of relief. So that in itself means that we should say that it is because of karma. And we can now get rid of it by yoga power. There is no other way whereby karma could be erased. No other way. Let anybody say, how can karma be erased? Whatever we have done in the past, it is there. It is very much there. No one can get rid of it. No one can get out of it. It's a trap in which we are already in. We can't break it. The only way to break it is, or to burn it is, to be liberated from it is meditation. Intense meditation, deep meditation, and Baba's help. And that we can have. We have been given the way. And then I said one of the reasons, one of the causes of our dissatisfaction is because many desires. We are over ambitious, more than we can fulfill. So we have to select. We have to be people with less desires. That we should understand, that we have limited time, limited capacity. And even if we want to do godly service, which is very good, which is for our own welfare and for the welfare of mankind. But if we are being over ambitious in that, even then there are always chances that you will be disappointed and that there may be dissatisfaction. So we have to take up only that much, which is in keeping with our capacity, with our stamina, so that we can maintain our stage of yoga. We can do our study properly. If we have no proper time for our study to go deep into what Baba's knowledge is, because this is the most precious thing which we are getting, and we get it only in Sangam Yuga, there is no other period. It's so marvelous, so wonderful. Baba's every word, every thought is so precious. We should find time enough to go deep into it and to enjoy it. There is nothing greater than this, we must realize. And we give it up for the sake of service. Service, of course, we must do. It is one of our subjects. It is what Baba asks us to do, loves us to do. And it is our own heart's desire to do it. It is something which is our duty to do to others. But we must forget that there are other subjects besides. And knowledge is wonderful. The first attribute of God is knowledgeful. Even God is able to do service to mankind because He is knowledgeful. If God were not knowledgeful, He would not have been able to do knowledge to mankind. And if we want to do service to mankind, we also have to be very firm, very enlightened in our knowledge. And let us therefore cherish this, go deeper into this. It's so sweet, so elixir type, so nectar, good nectar, immortal, precious gems, as Baba has been saying, that we must devote adequate time. We are students. Godly student life is the best, Baba says. Let us first of all remember that we are students. So, if we do this, I think the inner joy which we will get out of study of knowledge will remove the last traces of our dissatisfaction. Because it has so much in it. When you go deeper into it, you will find you are fulfilled. There is no, emptiness left in it. And similar is the case with meditation. We don't devote proper time to meditation. We don't do intense meditation. We don't attain the seed state. We are not flying in the angelic form. And we are trying to attain so many worldly things. And even when we want to do service, perhaps we want to have name and fame. That the BK family should know that we are doing very good, great service, worldwide service. That we have good organizing power, good administrative power, or that we are good orators, good writers, or whatever, maybe the form of service. But the first question is, are we good yogis? Because yoga is the foremost thing. It is the greatest gift which Baba has given us. Every other thing fades into insignificance in face of yoga. Have I risen so high in yoga? Am I established completely in that state of bliss? Am I drinking it deeply all the time? If I have not been able to do this, then I think if there is any cause for dissatisfaction, it is this. I should be dissatisfied only in this because I am not getting it. If once I get it, then nothing will be left which is a cause for dissatisfaction. Because even service, I will be able to do better if I am a better yogi. And if I am more enlightened, if I have all the points of knowledge very clear to me, my mind is very clear. And similar is the case with the qualities. Every single quality if I attain, say patience, contentment, they say each one is a treasure trove. It's a golden mine. Every single quality. Why the world is suffering? It is because of lack of one or the other quality. If I pay my attention to myself, that I have to adorn my mind with these qualities, this quality, that quality and the other qualities, and I think deeply, why I lack in this quality? How should I have this quality? How to improve it? And I pay my maximum attention to it, so that when there are adverse circumstances which test me, I pass through them creditably, and I am able to stabilize myself in those qualities. This is the highest achievement. The whole world bows to a person who is a person of qualities, a person of character. The wealth does not last, does not go with man. But this is the qualities for which a man is worshipped. This is what has been made very clear to us. So why do I feel dissatisfaction? Because of lack of other things. If at all I feel dissatisfaction, I should feel concerned about having these. Every single quality. Let me decorate myself with this, embellish myself with this. And first of all, see what is your speciality. Why you look at others? Why you feel rivalry and jealousy? Why you hate others? You have some speciality. Baba has said it times out of number, my dear children, you are special children. I have selected you out of millions. Each one of you is a special soul. I see specialities in you. See what is your speciality and try to manifest it. Use your speciality for the service of mankind. And I can tell you, even if we do one thing, if we use our specialities for the service of others, we will be fulfilled. There will be no cause for dissatisfaction. There is such a vast field for manifestation of our potentialities, of our qualities. There will be no margin left for dissatisfaction. The first thing is that we should explore our specialities, our special qualities. And if we do not know that, ask the seniors, consult them, even ask Baba. Baba, when we meet Baba, and when Baba speaks to each one of us, and when we say Baba gave us this blessing, and in those words of beautiful words of blessing, in those inspiring words of blessing, which are marvelous when God speaks to the souls, which we could never imagine that God will speak to us, and how lucky, how fortunate we are that we meet God Himself time and again, and He utters unto us the words which we used to utter to our worship-worthy souls, divine beings. He utters those souls to us, words to us. And in those words you would find He mentions your speciality. If you just read those verses again and again, you will find that in that is mentioned the speciality which He sees in you. And if you use those speciality for the service of mankind, and you try to multiply it, enhance it, increase it, you will find, this is what Baba has been saying again and again, you will find that there is no reason left for being dissatisfied. Because there is so much in it. And Baba has selected us out of millions for many reasons, and one of those being our that speciality. Now, one of the causes I said was that others are dissatisfied with us, and therefore we are dissatisfied with ourselves. Why we are dissatisfied with ourselves? Because we feel there is something lacking in us, wherefore others are dissatisfied with us. So, if we want, they also expect love from you, and they are love starved. The world is love starved. So you must, even if you have, you must love, offer your love, give love. This is one thing of making others feel. This is one thing of making others feel satisfied. And the other one is giving and sharing. Sometimes others are dissatisfied with us because we are demanding type. We are selfish people. We want things for our own selves, not for others. We deprive others for our own fulfillment. If on the other hand we feel that in giving others is our own fulfillment, not in taking, more in giving rather than in taking, then this is how we can make others satisfied. And when others are satisfied, as I said earlier, it gives us satisfaction. So share with others, give others. So share with others, give others. Very often Baba has been saying that of Devis and Devtas, of gods and goddesses, the hand is always like this. It is not like this. In the giving pose, blessing pose, not in the begging pose. And another one is humility. Others may be dissatisfied with us because we are very egoistic type, very proud of ourselves. We talk to them in rough manners. We are discourteous, impolite, disrespectful. And maybe therefore it is that they are dissatisfied with us. So if we are humble, humility we have in our behavior with them, at least there is, from our side, there is no reason why they should be dissatisfied with us. Then a word of appreciation. When each one does an act, he expects a word of appreciation from others. It's a nice word. You can encourage others, appreciate others. We should not be jealous. We sometimes are so miser that if we can't give wealth to anybody, help to anybody, energy to anybody, we don't even speak a few good words so that others feel happy that they did a nice job, they did a good act, that we approve of that good act. So speak a few nice words, appreciate others. Give them the chance. And therefore Baba said, when you take the chance, you become chancellor. And I think when you give chance to others, then perhaps you become even better than chancellors. Because you are making others chancellors. One is to be a king, the other is to be a kingmaker. By giving chance to others, you will be making them chancellors. So naturally, one who makes chancellors is higher than one who himself is a chancellor. And even when you are called upon to make some sacrifices, this Brahmin life, this BK life, demands at times some little sacrifices. How much did Baba sacrifice for us, for his children? How much was he put to discomfort? He was disrespected. There was so much of agitation against him. His all health, wealth and everything, he sacrificed for our betterment. Can't we make a little bit sacrifice for others to make them feel happy? Like a mother does to her children. Like a good friend does to a good friend. So let us, even if we feel that someone is demanding more than is due, more than what we should do, the fair proportion, the fair share, we should go to that person. Never mind. Those who become higher devtas, higher gods and goddesses who are giving, who are sacrificing. People started the other kind of sacrifice, like the Mohammedan sacrificing the lamb on the Eid celebration. You see, and others doing other kinds of sacrifices, like people in India sacrificing a lamb when they go to worship the Devi. But this lamb, which is of greed, of ego in our mind, If we sacrifice this for the betterment of others, this is the real sacrifice which we are expected to make, which would make others not only satisfied but very happy with us. And if, in spite of doing all this, there are some people who are not satisfied, then at least be satisfied with yourself. How can you be satisfied when others are not satisfied? Because I told earlier that if others are not satisfied, we are not satisfied with ourselves. So maybe that when I am saying this, I am perhaps contradicting my previous statement. But I can be satisfied even when others are not satisfied with me, though I have done all what I said earlier. After that, if somebody is not satisfied with me, I should be satisfied because I have done a good deed. A virtue is its own reward. Let my conscience say that I have whatever I was expected to do, I have done more than that. If even then, if somebody is dissatisfied with me, there is no repentance in my mind. My conscience does not prick me. Now there should be no cause for my dissatisfaction, because I have done a good deed, and a good deed is its own reward. Virtue is its own reward. I should be satisfied with the virtue, with the good deed which I did. Even if this person is not satisfied, maybe that person is more demanding, more greedy than I can fulfill. But if it is within my capacity, whatever I could do, I have done. Now there is no cause for dissatisfaction. I must be satisfied. You have sown the seed of good deed, of virtue, of sacrifice, of love, of feeling concern for another, of helping the other one, of loving, of caring. And that seed will take some time to sprout, to flower, to attain the form of a fruitful tree. Wait for it. Don't be losing your patience and thinking, why this man is dissatisfied? Now there is no longer any need for giving so much thought to it. Feel unconcerned and do your own thing. Because you have sown the seed and you should be satisfied. Wait for it. And then again, I would say be satisfied, because they say there was never born a man who could please the whole world. If you can please the maximum number of people, even then you should be satisfied, because you have lived your life well. You have done your deeds well. You have wished everybody well. And whatever you could do according to God's teachings, you have done well. And I think it is a fruitful thing you have done. You should be satisfied with yourself. Om Shanti.